Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
pretty good. You?
I'm very well. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Wow, what a view.
Yeah,
So let's,
I took it seriously about this vineyard chat, so I came here
it's
to
unbelievable.
the vineyard. Yeah.
Wow. So let's start. Before we start, if you want, you can turn the camera out of selfie mode. There's a little arrow you can turn to point the camera if you
Oh,
want.
yes, of course, of
That
course.
just so you don't fall down the hill showing us around, but you can stay on for now.
Okay. Wait, let me find this. I'm not sure.
I think it's the lower right. There's a little circle of two arrows.
Uh, Wait. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then you can
Yes.
point a little, it's a little easier for you. So
Yeah.
that's
Much.
just
Thanks.
stunning. So, Juan, would you introduce yourself and tell us where you are? You can put it in and out of that mode, whatever you want, but that's
Okay.
just stunning.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
I'll come back to that when
Perfect.
I'll show you some things. Well, my name is Juanfa Suarez. We are here in Paraje Altamira in Uco Valley. Um, I'm doing wines from vineyard, um, and well, everything is state grown from our family vineyard here in Altamira, which we owe for like 100 years next year.
Wow. And there's four of you involved, or you have to explain a little bit to me. So you've had the winery for 400 years, but
Yeah, no, no, no.
explain the four.
Yeah, the state. And so I've been doing different wines, and for Traslapiedra, which is the wine we are talking about. Well, some friends and my cousin start coming with me to harvest and work with wines and help me with the blends and stuff. So they said, why don't we do our own brand? So that's Traslapiedra. It's about.
That's awesome. And what's your role there then?
Well, I'm basically the winemaker, and I'm also very involved here in the viticulture in the state. So I'm making sure everything is right with the grapes. So we do the wine with the style we like.
So I am going to try and see if this picture works. Would you tell us, when people think of Argentina, they think of Mendoza,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's good. So you're in. How do you pronounce it again? My Spanish is really bad. I need Beth here with me.
Well, this is Uco Valley.
Uh-huh.
You can see the Uco Valley has three parts. From the north part, you can see Tupungato up
Uh-huh.
there. In the middle, Tunuyan, and in the south, San Carlos. So we are in San Carlos. It's the big department. Then we have La Consulta, which is our town and a bigger appellation. And then we have Paraje Altamira, which is the high part of La Consulta, basically.
Okay.
It's the all this region is alluvial, and there's a big alluvial cone that formed big part of this the south of Uco Valley, and Altamira is right at the top of this place. Is really close to the mountains, and well, we have I think the most interesting soils from this southern region, because at the high part it's very poor soils, very rocky, and with a lot of calcareous content, which is not, I mean, so common in the rest of the parts. So this is what makes Altamira different, and I think that's why it earned its IG status.
So how do you have alluvial soils if you're high in the mountains?
Well,
They're
because
still higher mountains.
yeah, yeah, because I mean, this is really high. This is like the second highest range in the world after Himalaya. So we are at what 1,100 meters, and
Wow.
we're still in the flat. I mean,
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah.
So can you tell us what we're looking at in the background?
Yes, we are looking at the wait. Uh, we are looking to the Andes Mountains. So
Okay.
this is very important for us. We are very close here to the that's very high. That's like 4,000 meters high.
Wow.
And we like to say we make mountain wines because all the material, this alluvial material, came from the Andes. So the soils are from the Andes. We are at this altitude is because of the Andes, and we have irrigation because it's here is a very desertic climate, and the water is like real pure snow melt water coming from very, I mean, not far away from here. So that's why we like to say we have mountain wines.
And how does that impact the taste then? I know you're doing things very differently, but just while we're talking about the mountain, how does that translate to the glass?
I think because of the freshness we can have here, we have lots of sun and cool nights. That makes it a very interesting combination because we can pick up early, quotes early, but ripe. So that's what makes it interesting. So we can have ripe wines with freshness, with high acidity, with natural high acidity, right?
Okay. So you have to forgive me that I'm not used to talking to the Southern Hemisphere. So
Yeah.
where are you in the harvest cycle right now? Or in the growth cycle?
We are. We had this week. We had our first frost, -4 degrees. So we are about to prune. Basically, we are all the side up. I mean, it's totally opposite to northern hemisphere.
Well, we had frost like a month ago here, so I'm still thinking for the other end of it.
And now it's pretty hot today, so things are a little crazy now. But we are about to prune.
And so high up in the mountain, how long is your growth cycle?
No, it's common. It's not. I mean, we have some varieties that are shorter and some varieties that are longer. Like in. I mean, I don't know. We have a very wide. Well, the plants here are all mostly French type of wines, of grapes. I mean. But so I don't know, Chardonnay or Pinot Noir. We pick it in February, and you can pick a very ripe Cabernet Sauvignon on the end of April, for example.
I see. Okay. So what are the grapes? Go ahead.
No, I don't do that. I try to pick up everything with. For me, the acidity is very important. It's our landmark of wines. So I don't go up to end of April. I'm usually finished harvest at the 25th of March, something like that.
And how much earlier is that from your neighbors? 2 weeks?
Sometimes it can be 1 month.
Wow. Okay. So for the Traslapiedra project, what grapes do you grow and what cuvées do you make then?
Yeah. Malbec, a blend with Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, and a bit of Merlot. This changes every year. And then we have a Pinot Noir and a white Chardonnay.
And so can you explain again those grapes, but as mountain wines that you grow? Like if I know Chardonnay from, say, California or Burgundy, how is your Chardonnay different?
Well, here, if you can have a very saline twist in the feel and the mouth because of these soils, and you also have fruit because of the sun. That's no doubt about it, and there's a herbal tone you get in almost all the wines if you don't overripe. In some wines it turns more in the flower side. And sometimes like really herbs, maybe like in the reds you can get like thyme, rosemary, or wild herbs. The wild herbs we have around here.
And so this is a very maybe basic question, but just to very far step out, how do you, because you're physically between what we think of as Argentine, like Mendoza, and Chile, are you kind of in the middle there too stylistically? Or how does it fit in the big picture? I think it's the data. I hope it's not me. We lost him, so we'll talk till he gets back. Beth, if he says things that I might not understand, I'm a visual learner, and if I see things, it comes out easier. So if he mentions a specific region or something, somebody pop it down there and to just spell it out for me. I think he's coming back. Here, I'll show some other pictures of where they are. Do a little slideshow while he's gone. Just gorgeous view of the Andes. Yes, Steve, this map is great, and I apologize. I got to tell you who it's from. I will give them the credit. Maggie Nelson. It says it down there on the bottom right. All right, is he back on here? Bear with me, guys. I apologize, but that's the price of having people do from their vineyard. It's not always the best connection. He'll be back, though. I was talking to Chris Bates at the Finger Lakes, and he might actually be having the same. Well, I don't know. His phone overheated. It was so hot today in the Finger Lakes that his phone overheated. It was like 90 degrees, 95 in the Finger Lakes. Oh, let's see. So yeah, if y'all have questions for me, I'm very curious about what it's like selling wine in Moscow and just like wine culture. That's going to be tomorrow. And then, like I was saying, in Dubai, my friend has a wine class. She teaches a wine program, and you can do it online now, but she also goes to people's homes, and she's been restaurant stuff too. But it's a non-drinking culture officially, but it's so heavily influenced on tourism. So I think it'll be interesting to talk about what it's like in Dubai. And then down in the Beaujolais on Friday, there's a family that's in Macon and Beaujolais for property. Juan is still away. I hope it didn't fall off that, as I was saying, like when you back up to look out your camera sometimes. Bear with me, guys. We're letting Juan reacclimate his Wi-Fi or his phone connection up in the mountains. I hope his phone didn't die. It has changed to summer here in Connecticut. I am, it's hot. So I'm hiding in the shade in the back of the house rather than the deck because it gets me right on the face. Who else still on here? Beth and Eva, you're still here? Steve's still here? Ah, there he goes.
So sorry.
There you go. You're back.
My battery. I don't know why I had to run to my house to plug in.
I wondered, I'm glad you're okay. I wondered if it was something. This morning I was talking to a winemaker. His phone overheated because he was outside. So it's the price of talking out in the vineyard. So I appreciate you making it work for us.
Yeah. Sorry about the intermission. Now I'm
It's
back
okay.
again.
So I was asking, how do you, because you're kind of in between Mendoza and Chile, how do you put your wines in a very broad terms in relation to those geographical regions?
Well, we are close to Chile but only in kilometers wise. Chile is from the other side, so it has Pacific.
Oh,
Pacific
yeah.
intervention, and it's not as desertic as here. So it's completely different from Chile.
Okay. And Mendoza?
Well, we are in the province of Mendoza, so our wines are from Mendoza, but Mendoza is the biggest producer in Argentina in terms of region. So it's very, very diverse. We have many different things here in Mendoza.
I'm going to put this picture back up so people can see the mountains. And that's you, yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you now? You're plugged your phone in somewhere?
Yeah, I plugged the phone in my house.
Oh, okay. So you live that close to that view? That's crazy.
Yes. I'm like 4 kilometers away from the mountain. Very,
That's
very close.
insane. What a beautiful place to be. Beth just asked, what is your
Yeah.
favorite red and white grape to produce in Altamira?
I would say Malbec for sure. For sure. It's a very transparent variety. You can get a really terroir wine with a Malbec. It's very plastic in terms that it shows the terroir. If you have a terroir-driven winemaking thing, it's very clear that how it reacts at different soils, different years. I mean, I like that about Malbec. And then in about the white Semillon, it's the one I prefer.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Could you describe the taste, especially like the Malbec? I'm curious to see how is it different from a classic like Mendoza that we're very familiar with?
Well, here we can have red fruit driven Malbec
Oh, okay.
with higher acidity
Mm-hmm.
and this Italian twist. You can feel in the texture of the wine.
Okay.
I mean, and it's a cool region. For Mendoza, it's one of the coolest region. So you can have this red fruit, like a little herbal in a good way, in a sexy way, herbal, like wild herbs, flowers. That depends on the year, if it's cooler or hotter.
Okay.
And if you can have a fresh wine, really, really drinkable wine.
Okay, that makes sense. And then how is your Semillon? What does your Semillon taste like from there?
Semillon, it's at the beginning, it's a very austere grape.
Oh.
It's not too showy at the beginning. I do early picking, so in order to have not so much a fruity wine, but a more mineral type of wine. And it's very flowery. It's flowery. You can there's some I don't know, like white flowers. You can have on the nose, which is very, very interesting.
Wow, I can't wait to try it. Can you tell me about your grandfather and this book that he wrote?
Yeah, it's my great grandfather. He wrote a book, the first ampelographic book in Argentina in 1911.
1911.
So 1911, yeah, it's like more than 100 years from. And that's a very, very important book in the Argentinian viticulture because not many years ago the French varietals got into Mendoza, and this book ordered all those varieties that were mixed up, and nobody knew much what they had. It was like red grape, So with this book, producers could know what they have, and it's very interesting, the book, because it has a lot of advice for small producers, for small family unit type of.
Wow, that's super cool. There you go. That's super cool. And it's from 1911, you said?
1911, yeah.
Wow. Is it available, or do you just have it in the family archives? I want to read it, but in English.
Well, I had to work on this translation. Actually, it's available. The book is. I only know about 4 or 5 copies. I have one of those, uh,
Wow.
and I'm talking with a research national institute of agriculture, uh, and we're about to do a reedition, an online reedition. So it's going to be available soon. Uh, and it's important. When I talk to these people, they told me
Yeah.
it's very important. We have to do this because if there's only 5 copies, this is going to get lost.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic that you're doing that. What a cool project. I can't wait.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so Beth told me you often encourage people to chill your reds, and that sounds to me, an Argentine Malbec to chill it. It's, I mean, chillable. Can you talk about that? It sounds perfect for right now.
Sorry, chillable.
Yeah, to make it cold. The red wine's
Ah,
at a cold temperature.
yes, yes. I, 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 I like red wines cool. I mean, I suggest to drink it cool. Every red wine, not
Uh
only.
huh.
I mean, then when you have the second glass, the third glass, it starts to open, and it's like a fascinating trip how it changes with the temperature.
Uh
Um,
huh.
if you start with a not so chilled wine, I mean, at the third, fourth glass, it's going to be hot.
Yeah. Well, it's also like people are very open to that now with Beaujolais, but I find that a lot of people are open to chilling it, and more than just cellar temperature to have a nice chill on it.
Yeah,
What do you think?
from the fridge.
When Beth and Eva first told me about you and your wines, it made me think of some of the places in Languedoc, which is a hot region, but some of the producers with a little altitude are doing the same kind of thing, picking a little bit earlier, have a little bit fresher, a little bit riper. Do you have experience with that, comparing it to Languedoc?
Not to Languedoc, but I mean, this is I mean, it's not. I think this is a little cooler than Languedoc, maybe.
Okay,
I'm not so sure.
because you're definitely higher.
Yeah, because we are 1,100 meters above sea level, so
Yeah.
that we have like every night it's cold during the even. I mean, the summer is really hot period, but then the nights are cool. So that makes it not such in the average. It's
Hmm.
not like hot region. Up here in the mountains, if you go lower to Mendoza, like 600 meters higher, something like that, that's really hot. But
Right.
in terms of that technique, I mean, it's getting hotter everywhere. So I've been
Yeah.
seeing this type of early picking in quotes between quotes because in lots of places in Etna, in
Yeah.
Spain, even Chateauneuf de Pape, there's lots of places that it's hot, but if you pick up right, you can get a really fresh wine.
Right. Still doable. What is the idea of the marine desert?
Marine desert, yeah, this is like a poetic game or figure to explain the origin of the calcareous soils that we have here. One of the theories is that it's Pacific Ocean trapped in the mountains. So this is like a poetic game to play with the origin of our calcareous soils.
I love that. It's beautiful. Who's the artist that does your bottles, your artwork?
It's Federico Lamas, the artist.
And he has some project, or there was some charity component. Was that true that he's working with?
He does a lot of stuff, and this technique is one of the things he does for his art, for himself, and we liked it, and we just call him and say we want to have your technique in our wine.
Oh, it's very
Yeah.
cool. And your website is very cool. Are you? I feel like just from your website and your labels, and kind of your style of wine, you're kind of rule breakers or rebels. How do you see
Yeah, yeah,
yourself?
yeah. I'm going to show you some bottles.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay. So this is one.
Uh huh.
This is our Malbec. So it's
Awesome.
like it's like a psychedelic old captain lost, trapped in the mountains, and I don't know. It's
It's
fun.
awesome.
And he's smoking some grapes.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And it's
Yeah.
and your website's in your bio on Instagram?
Yeah, I think so. It's I can write it for you. Yeah.
It's either yours or the Traslapiedra one, the Traslapiedra one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traslapiedra. Yeah.
And then there was a really nice article that Beth sent me about Wine Enthusiast, about your style of wine too. That was fascinating.
Yeah, Mike, I met him for one lunch, and he really liked the wines. So he asked me to send some samples to review. And well, he really describes what's in the bottle. So it would be great for you to have one bottle and taste with us. But he explains it very well. I mean, I'm totally agree with his description of the wine.
And the lawnmower starting. We're at a half an hour anyways though, so I won't subject people to the lawnmower. But very quickly, what's happening with the coronavirus and the quarantine down there?
Well, we had a crazy harvest because the coronavirus exploded when we were harvesting. So it was really, really tough and challenging harvest. In Mendoza, it's the pressure is not so strong, but Buenos Aires is pretty bad now.
I missed the last bit. So are you under quarantine still?
Yeah, we are under quarantine, but in Mendoza, it's there's not too many cases.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Only one.
Juan, I'm losing you, and I was about to end anyways, so I'm going to end it there because I think we're losing you.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yeah. So you got harvest done just before the quarantine, is that right?
Yeah. So no, we had the quarantine with the harvest, so it was really crazy, memorable harvest. Very, very hard.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I will let you go, and it's really nice to meet you. I hope we get to see you in New York soon.
I hope so. I was planning to be there in 10 days, more or less. Obviously, it can't.
Yeah.
So I hope everything gets normal and I'll be back again there.
I hope so. Thank you for your time. I'm really excited to try your wines. They sound delicious. I'm excited to get some.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure chatting.
Bye.